Okay, let's talk business, the money aspect of the Yellow Springs, Ohio situation where Dave Chappelle seems to be at the center of the controversy, which I don't think is controversial in any way, shape, or form. This is a man that's first and foremost is a member of the community. All right. Take away all the status and all that crap, the fame, fortune. He's a member of the community. So we as outsiders truly have no business um, meddling with the community's business. Um, as far as criticizing, praising, or condemning anything. We can comment on some of these things, which is what I'm doing, but I'm not here to condemn, praise, or do any of that stuff because I have no dog in that fight, and neither most of us. None of us really have a dog in that fight. Maybe some member over there that's living in Yellow Springs that see this video, that person has a dog in this fight because they're part of that community. They have to live with the fallout or whatever goes on in that community. We don't. So keep that in mind as you listen to this. From a business perspective, you have Dave Chappelle and you have this outside developer coming in to do business. The outside developer is proposing a $24 million project. You have Dave Chappelle, on the other hand, proposing a $65 million project. The developer is an outsider. Dave Chappelle is an insider. He's already invested millions of dollars in keeping the community up and running, the small businesses there. So he already has history doing business with the community for the benefit of the community. And obviously, he's probably making some money off that as well. But he lives in the community and is preserving the community with the money that he's made outside of it, um, and lives there, obviously. Now, Dave Chappelle is very, very rich, so I'm assuming his estate is worth millions of dollars. Um, the 65 million he's already proposing compared to a $24 million project. From a business perspective, the guy with a $65 million bank account is the one that carries more leverage than the $24 million um, bank account. Unless it's something so holier than now, kumbaya type of stuff, where the $24 million one might, outweigh the $65 million one. But the kicker from a business perspective is that Dave Chappelle, that's proposing this $65 million project, lives where this money will be spent. So it's easy to argue that he's not going to be throwing $65 million into a community that's going to destroy a community that he lives in. Just doesn't make sense. Um, so you got to look at the business aspect of it. So you have the $25 million company, you got a $65 million company. They're competing, they're competitors. So it's natural for competitors to, especially doing public interest type work, to go before the board of directors or the governing body of wherever they are to promote or sell whatever their project to the community that they're in. So you have the developer selling their stuff. You have Dave Chappelle selling his thing. He's willing to pull his money out if they go through with supporting his competitor. That's his ground, and that's his leverage because $65 million is a lot of money. And he lives there. People know him. They know his family, they know his kids. He has leverage. Why would he not use his leverage? Okay? Now, let's talk about the affordable housing part. The houses they plan to build in that community, the $24 million project, is $250,000 to $600,000. That is by no means affordable. You got to be making a lot of money to buy a house like that. So you're talking about a mortgage, a $2,000 a month mortgage and up to afford a house like that, unless you're putting down like maybe $100,000, $150,000 down on the house. So you got to be rich anyway, in a sense, or upper middle class at least, to afford these type of houses, or coming from New York, or some of those very expensive living environments. So he's not killing affordable housing. Those houses by no means are affordable. And if you really believe that, I would like to see you go out and try and buy a house for $250,000, making what, $20 an hour or $15 an hour. And I mean, it's not gonna be easy. Plus, you have to be able to furnish that house, pay the utilities in a house like that, because I'm sure they're not building one bedroom houses and selling it, or two bedroom houses. They're probably building bigger houses. Now the $24 million project, their public relations are using Dave Chappelle's property to try to bolster sales for their property. So obviously there's some proximity to where he lives. His property is, there's some proximity there. And they're using that as a marketing tool. They're using their competitor as a marketing tool to sell their property. It's a bold and a unique approach. So I'm not going to put it down as a method to sell property, but yeah, I mean, come on, you're using your competitor's property to sell your own. Just doesn't, yeah, and expect that person to do nothing. Well, he's doing something. So if you have any questions, ask it in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe. I do have a master's degree in organizational psychology and business development. It is so that's what I'm applying to this. Take away the crime and all that other stuff that's associated with affordable housing. In my community, affordable housing would be like Section 8 public housing, maybe putting a $100,000 house in a housing area where the houses sell for 200,000 up. In this case, what they have there is not affordable housing by any stretch of the imagination, and nobody would, in their right mind, would assume $250,000 is affordable anywhere. It might be affordable to someone like Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, those type of people who might buy a house from there just as a joke, something. But I say, oh, I can afford this. But the reality is those houses are not affordable. And the people that's going to be buying those houses are not coming from the community itself. Most of the people that's going to buy those houses are going to be coming from the outside. So you have more people in a community, don't know much about the infrastructure and none of that stuff that they talk about. But it seems like a fairly rural area from what I've seen. Um, but again, we are not part of the community. We do not have a dog in that fight. From a business perspective, Dave is a businessman, but he also lives in a community, and he is doing what's necessary to protect his investment. And that's just how we have to look at that. He obviously has a good relationship with the people in the community because he's doing business there, and he's been there for years. So he obviously hasn't been ran out of town or ran out of business, or at least I haven't seen where complaints have been filed against his company or the things that he's doing there. And then on the other hand, you have this outsider coming in, using him as a selling tool for their product and competing against his business ventures. So I mean, what would you do if you're in an environment where you're investing millions of dollars and then a competitor come in with less money than you have, and what would you do? Would you just let them walk all over you? I believe uh, Roosevelt said this: uh, "Tread lightly and carry a big stick." Something to think about. Y'all have a good day.